Believe in yourself. Part 2 of Reading for Salafis. I'm reading again from The Sealed Nectar. Page 221. We find something useful to argue against some people who believe that we don't need hadiths. So it says on page 221 in the book, in Arabic it's called Al-Raqiq al-Makhtum, in English The Sealed Nectar. So it is quoting from the Quran itself, chapter 62, verse 2. He it is who sent among the unlettered ones a messenger, Muhammad ﷺ, from among themselves, reciting to them his verses, purifying them from the filth of disbelief and polytheism. That is in brackets. From the filth of disbelief and polytheism. And teaching them the book, i.e. this Quran, Islamic laws and Islamic jurisprudence. That is all in brackets again. And al-hikmah. So I'll read it again without all the things in brackets. He it is who sent among the unlettered ones a messenger from among themselves, reciting to them his verses, meaning God's verses, purifying them, and teaching them the book. And al-hikmah. It says, the Prophet's companions rushed enthusiastically to assimilate these Quranic rules and fill their hearts joyfully with them. It says, quote, and when his verses are recited unto them, they increase their faith. So that's chapter 8, verse 2. Okay. It says above that, it says here, it requires a long time to build, during which legislation and legalization will run gradually in a complementary process with mind cultivation, training, and education. Allah, the All-Knowing, of course, undertook legislation, and His Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the explanation, implementation, and reformation. And then I'll just read in Arabic the verse 2 from chapter 62. وَالَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رُسُولٌ مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ. So kitab is the Quran and hikmah is something else, right? Hikmah meaning legal ways, orders, acts of worship. Okay. So people who think that all you need is the Quran itself refutes them. Okay, in chapter 62, verse 2. It's the Quran and hikmah that we need to implement Islam in our lives. Okay. The understanding of Islam, what is Sunnah, what is our way that we should follow, the way of the Prophet ﷺ. You won't find miswak, cleaning your teeth in the Quran. You won't find all the rules for praying in the Quran. Prayer is one of the pillars of Islam. If you don't even know how to do the pillar of Islam, how can you say that you're doing Islam correctly? These people just want to believe that you can do whatever you want as long as you're quote-unquote Muslim, an only Muslim, not something that they claim is a sect outside of Islam. So they claim that Sunniism, being a Sunni is outside of Islam. Okay, whereas in fact everybody knows that Sunni Islam is Um, not a sect, it is the original Islam. That's why most Muslims today are Sunnis, okay? And in the 90s, I remember watching a program on TV. It was a psychology program. And for some reason, they were talking about Islam. It was an episode about Islam, and they said, well, I think it was a psychology program. It was on TVO, I think, or Toronto like TV, a channel in Toronto. I think it's called TVO. So they used to have psychology programs and other programs. I remember this white curly haired dude, and he was talking about Islam and explaining how maybe it was about history of religions, and so he was speaking about Islam and saying how it's like 99 point, 95% of Muslims are Sunnis, and you have like 0.5% are, Shia and other groups, So basically, you can argue that yes, there are Sufis in Sunni Islam, there are also Sufis who are like outside of Islam because of their practices or beliefs which lead them to kufr, basically, which, throw them out of Islam. But Sunni Islam is the major, in the 90s it was like overwhelmingly Sunni, right?